me feel that was very hard touched. Very hard touching. Family contacted me yesterday and asked me if I would say a few words. And of course I said I would. And I replied, David had so many friends. And they said, well, you knew him when y'all were young. And so I just put together some thoughts from when we were 15, 16 years old. And I'm mostly going to read this. I'm going to share a few memories and thoughts with you about David. I met David working at Mr. K's Piggly Wiggly. I was 16 years old, and David was 15 years old. And although I was older than David, I looked up to him. He worked 10 times harder than anyone at that grocery store. And I could hear him say, by the way, my name is Brian Whitfield, and David referred to me as Whitfield. So I can hear him say it. He would say, hustle, Whitfield, hustle. Faster, faster. And then he would always laugh. And all y'all know the laugh I'm talking about. And I've said this before, to this day, David is in the top 5 people that I can say influenced my drive and my work ethic. At 16 years old, I remember when we would get our paychecks on Fridays from working all week at Mr. K's Piggly Wiggly. And the first thing David would do before he spent any of his paycheck on himself, he would always check to make sure to see if his mom or his sister wanted or needed anything before he would spend any of his own money on himself. This is who David was, always putting others ahead of himself. And by the way, I brought a little show and tell here. It's a check stub from when David and I worked at Mr. K's Piggly Wiggly. It's from February the 10th, 1991. That's 33 years ago. And let me say, I cannot believe how hard David Johnson had me working for $3.80 an hour. On this particular week, we worked 31 and a half hours, and we made $119.70. Although I was only making $3.80 an hour, the hustle and the work faster lesson I learned from David and the lifelong friendship from David has absolutely been priceless. We will all dearly miss him, but we are all better off by having known him. Another thing I noticed early on when David and I worked at the pig is he always had jumper cables in his truck. Not because he had an old battery in his truck, but in case someone else needed a jump. This is who he was. As busy as David was between his family, friends, multiple companies, and inventions, he would always stop everything going on in his own life. And he made whatever you needed from him the most important thing at that moment. David was a good friend. That's why he had so many friends. Now I'm going to ask you a question. Has anyone ever seen David drink from a straw? I'm going to tell you a story. One day, this was when we worked at the grocery store, one day David and I took our lunch breaks from the grocery store. We went to Subway. We ordered our food, and as we were sitting down at the table, I asked David, do you want me to grab you a straw? He laughed, and he said, men don't drink out of straws. So to this day, I don't drink out of a straw. And I think about David every time someone asks me if I want a straw. We don't realize how we impact one another until we start to reflect. As I was trying to make sense of this, And I'm sure many of you have the same thoughts or ask the question, why? David was loved by so many people. He had so much going on, and the question of why often pops up. But about a year ago, I was at a funeral, and the minister said something that just clicked. He said, death is just an appointment. And I'm reminded of a verse in Hebrews 9:27. It's appointed unto man once to die, and after this the judgment. We can find peace in knowing death is just an appointment. And through the blood of Jesus Christ, we can get out of this life the right way. John 3:16, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whoever believeth in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. The last time I talked to David, we talked about God's saving grace through the blood of Jesus Christ, and the importance of having our names written in the Lamb's Book of Life. You know, we all have an appointment, and we will all have to walk through this door at some point. And I encourage everyone to reflect on their own relationship with Jesus Christ, for today is the day of salvation. Thank you, David, for being such an amazing friend. I'll always love you, and I'll miss you, and God bless all of y'all today.